few things that you can probably check out on your own that are pretty simple. Just going to go through some basic engine problems and some basic engine how they function. Then maybe you can take care of it on your own. And if you have any other problems, give me a call. I'll be happy to work on it for you at a reasonable rate and a quick turnaround time. So anyway, if you're having engine problems, you want to definitely make sure that there is gas in it. Either a two-stroke, if it's a two-stroke engine, it's the correct fuel to oil mixture, or if it's a straight gasoline engine, you just want to make sure it has gas in it. All right, that happens a lot, that people just don't have gas in it. Another thing is to make sure the key's on. If it's a key start, make sure the key's in the on position. You know, some basic things. Battery, if it's a push button start, make sure that the battery's charged, and you can just disconnect that battery wherever it is mounted on your equipment if you do have that type of arrangement, and you can take that into any AutoZone or O'Reilly and they will overnight triple charge it for you for free. But let's get into some basic engine operation. In the case of any engine really, there are three major things you need to have, and starting off with, let's say, a four-stroke engine. These engines are mostly what we have in our cars and also our normal lawnmowers, and the four strokes are the intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, and exhaust stroke. Now for any engine, and in this case four-stroke engine, any engine really, what you need to have is spark, compression, and fuel, or proper air-fuel ratio mixture going into the combustion chamber. So check and see if it's getting spark. A way you can do that is to remove the spark plug, find where the spark plug wire goes into the engine, and pull that wire off, and then you can remove the spark plug. It's usually about a 13/16 inch wrench or socket. Get it on there, take the plug out. Once you have the plug out, put it back in the spark plug wire, and then you lean it up against something metal on the engine, and then you try pulling it a couple times, but you got to make sure to have your safety lever, someone holding that safety lever down. If it's a pull start or however you crank the engine, make sure that the in the case of a lawnmower, the bar is squeezed so that will send electrical signal to the coil and to everything electrical to make those connections. So once you got that set up, you pull it a couple times and you look at the spark plug to see if it's sparking when you pull start or crank start it electrically. And if you got spark, you got spark, so you know that's good. Put that all back together. Now, are you getting compression? Another thing you can do before you put the spark plug back in, okay, take that plug out of the wire and then move the wire to the side and have an assistant usually pull the pull string on your equipment, or have somebody push the starter button while you hold your thumb or your finger over the spark plug hole. And if you feel a lot of air pressure and it's trying to push your thumb or your finger out and it's making a sound, air trying to push past your finger, well, you know you have some compression. We don't know if you have the exact compression or proper compression that you need for the correct combustion to happen, but you do have some compression. Then the last thing here that you need to have is fuel. Is it getting fuel? Okay. And what you can do with that is, if you've been pulling it, it still doesn't start, take that spark plug back out. You know, you try to pull it with the spark plug in, and then you pull it, still not starting. You know you have spark, you know you have compression. Then take the plug out and inspect it. Take a look and see if it's wet. If it's not wet, it means it's not getting fuel. Now, a quick way before you even do that actually would be to open up the air cleaner. However your air cleaner looks on your equipment, it can be different. Here is a normal air intake, air cleaner arrangement. You just take that cover off and you squirt some brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner into there for just a second, and then put the can down and go ahead and try to start it normally and see if that runs for just a second or two. If that's the case, well then you know it's a fuel delivery problem. And sometimes just by tapping on the side of the carburetor or tapping on the float bowl, you can loosen things up in there just to get it running again. But if that is the case, something is sticking up in there and disturbing the fuel flow. If tapping on the carburetor doesn't work, then you can take and pull off the fuel feed line that's going to the carburetor. Pull that off, squeeze it with the needle nose pliers or some kind of pliers so gas doesn't get all over the place. And sometimes there's a hose clamp, usually there is, right where it connects to the carburetor. Take that hose clamp, slide it down along the hose, and then pinch that hose about a couple inches away from where it plugs into the carburetor, and then just you got to wiggle that off. Sometimes they're stuck on there pretty good, so you might need the assistance of a screwdriver or something to pry it off. And pop that off, and then slowly release your pliers to see if fuel is coming from the gas tank being delivered down to the carburetor. If that's the case and fuel is flowing, put your hose right back on there, and then you can you know that fuel is not getting through the little passages in the carburetor to up into the engine intake. So there's some kind of blockage in there. Most likely, especially if it's been sitting around for a while with old gas in it, it may be gummed up. The main jet in there and all that might be gummed up, or who knows what. The carburetor probably needs to be cleaned or replaced. Fortunately, carburetors on most of these small engines out there, you can get it for 10, 20 bucks, 30 bucks off of Amazon or eBay. But if you try these things and you're not having any success, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, or you can message me in the description of this, or in the comments of this. This should be on YouTube. So anyway, good luck with your engine. The big three things are spark, compression, and fuel delivery. So keep those in mind as you're trying to get your machine going again. If you have any problems, once again, feel free to give me a call. Thanks.